Is my helmet on straight? Yeah, look good. No food in my teeth? Okay, perfect. Hey, Granny Gear here for Old Guy on a Bike. Welcome to the jungle. Isn't this a neat little area right in here? Pretty cool, huh? I don't know if you can hear it or not, but it sounds like an aviary in here. All the birds chirping and tweeting. It's going to be a hot day, and I guess they're celebrating that. I don't know. In any case, I'm out on a bit of a training ride, and in the process of doing that, I'm wearing a whole bunch of clothing that is all review stuff. And I'm going to be finishing my training ride. I'll be sitting on my front porch. I'll be talking about what I think of it. A lot of it is kind of on the casual adventure side from a couple different vendors. Anyway, more about that to come after I finish my ride. I'll see you on the front porch. Okay, it's a hot day already, and my bike is all dusty from my ride, but I'm back on my porch and a little salt stain. But let's go through some of the clothing I got as quickly as I can. It's going to be a bit of a longer video. I got a lot of things to talk about, so I'll put chapter markers in. You can skip ahead to the things that most interest you. Okay, here we go. So let's start with Pearl iZUMi, because that's the bulk of the clothing samples that I have. Now, Pearl iZUMi, they have their Expedition line. Now that kind of focuses on more adventure-y, gravelly type. You could light mountain biking, or maybe even just casual cycling. Sometimes you don't want to have a skin suit type of thing going on when you're riding. So this kind of falls into that vein. So let's start from the bottom, work our way up. This is their Expedition shoe. Now it's kind of a, I would call it mountain biking light, which actually fits really well for gravel. Now, one thing that strikes me right away, I love the colors. I'm a sucker for orange and gray, I think, is a very, very smart color. Aside from that, well, it's a pretty simple shoe, isn't it? It has a single BOA dial, and it has a Velcro strap that takes care of any tensioning and adjusting down more near the forefoot of your shoe. Sole is fairly aggressive. It looks like it would be pretty good to hike in. Other than that, it's a fairly simple, straightforward shoe. It's got some ventilation going on. I'll put the weight and the price up on the screen as of now. It's not a terribly expensive shoe. Neither is it a cheap one either, because when it gets too cheap, you don't usually get a real BOA dial. Now, I haven't used this a lot, just timing of everything. But, and I don't consider this a review, because I really like to use a shoe for a long time before I want to see how it holds up. I want to see what it does over time. I haven't had a chance to do that. So let's just call this kind of first impressions. But my first impressions have been rather good. Here are some things to think about real quickly. Now, the insole, I'll be changing this out. It's not a terrible insole. I've seen much, much worse. It actually has a little metatarsal kind of button in it, which I really like. It just needs more arch support. And you know, the manufacturer, they don't know what you need. I will upgrade that. I don't think that's a big demerit. It's not the most stiff sole I've ridden. I actually could feel pressure flexing through my SBD pedal when I was standing and pedaling, which that doesn't happen very often with a shoe. On the other hand, it's flexible enough to walk in comfortably. So if you're a very heavy or very powerful rider, and this is not a racing shoe, I mean, in that sense, usually you're going to spend more for something that is stiffer. On the other hand, for the most people, it's probably going to be just fine, and you can actually walk in this without killing yourself. Now, I did notice that the sole, while certainly aggressive enough, is a very hard feeling. Now, I don't know what that would be like on like slippery stones in places like that where you're crossing riverbeds and things. I'm not sure. That's not my situation, but just something I noticed. Anyway, that is the Expedition shoe from Pearl iZUMi. Now, I also got to try real quick a pair of their Transfer Air socks. You can see me pedaling in them now. They're a nice long sock. Really nice quality sock. I'm a bit of a sock nerd, and some of the cheap socks you can get out there that most people tend to sell, the kind that you get at the bike shops and that are custom branded, they're really not all that good most of the time. This is a very nice sock. Stays very tight. There's no annoying seams to bother you. They've been a really, really good sock, because you need socks, don't you? And these Pearl iZUMi ones, they seem really quite good. Now, moving up in the Expedition line are these cargo bib shorts. And I have a lot of time in these, mostly because I've got another pair I had from last year, and I went through the whole season in them. They've become one of my favorite shorts. I've had up to some 6-hour nasty, grindy, climbing, hot rides, and the chamois in it never let me down. Now, I'm not saying, you know, it's the best chamois in the whole world or anything like that, but it didn't disgrace itself either, and hasn't let me down so far. These are a medium on me, and I'm like 6'2", 175 with a 32 waist, and the medium is just fine. Shoulder straps aren't too tight, which I like. They don't pinch or bind. They're nice and flat and wide, and the whole short seems to be cut quite well. The pockets, I love cargo shorts. I love the pockets. It's so darn useful. You can put a phone in there, you can put snacks in there. You got to be careful what you do put in there. If you want to crash on something on your side, you know, you don't want anything that's really going to hurt you in that pocket. There's also another pocket on these. It's back on the back of the short. You can see in the video here. Something you couldn't get to very easily when you're riding, but it's someplace you could store something for, you know, when you stop and need to access it later on. Anyway, these have been solid for me, and I would not hesitate to set out on a challenging ride in these. I have no qualms. Moving up from there is the Expedition Merino short sleeve jersey. Now you can see me wearing this, modeling this. This is a size large on my frame, kind of a generous t-shirt cut, and it's a very well-breathing a merino blend material. It's been very nice to wear over hot days, and really it's a very simple garment in that it actually has a little section on the tail of it at the back that's a little different fabric, and I'm wondering, it almost looks like it would be something that would shed water better. I wonder if that's there just to catch the spray from your tire. I don't know why else it's there, why it's different, but it is, which is interesting. Has a little single zipped pocket where you can put something in there, your keys or goodies. You can't get a lot in there, and you probably wouldn't want to put anything heavy because it's going to drag the jersey down. Now, jerseys like this are really, really nice for those days when you just want to be a little more casual. You're bike packing, you're touring, you're cruising around, you're going to coffee. You're not trying to be in the slipstream of the peloton. The downside, of course, to anything like this is you lose all your pockets in the back that you almost always have with a roadie type jersey, but you don't really get both of those. You either kind of get that or this, and if this is what you want for the day, well, you're probably not going to miss the pockets anyway. And that's what bags on your bike are for. Now, I'm a long finger glove fan. These have impressed me as probably my favorite long finger gloves that I've worn outside of those Gore, which are more of a fall, you know, fall winter glove. But these have been really, really good, and a couple reasons why. The gel pad. Now, I don't typically like gloves with any kind of a pad in them. If they got a gel pad in them, I usually just don't wear them or I give them away. But this is a very firm gel pad, and it's actually in a different place. It's up here high, where not normally the pads tend to be down here. Maybe that's more of a mountain biking position or something. I don't know. But this gel pad, not only does it not get in the way and it doesn't squish around, it also is just in the right place to be when you're on the tops, the corners of your drop bar, or on the hoods. It just seems like it's always in the right place. Another thing I like about this, it's light enough to be decently cool on hot weather. It's going to protect your hands from the sun fairly well. And it's easy to get in and out of, right? So it's not, that's really nice. But it has good purchase on the bars. So when I'm in the glove and I'm sweaty and I'm on the hoods and I'm braking, some of the gloves, I feel like my hand is shifting within the glove because they just don't have the structure to hold my hand in place. And that's kind of not a good feeling. These don't do that. Whoop, it's gone. These don't do that. These really, really have been good, and they're fast becoming my favorite gravel bike glove. RAB. RAB is a clothing company, RAB, that I had never heard of before. I guess they're UK based, and they have a long and storied history of making outdoor clothing for people who are in nasty conditions, you know, Scotland, Wales, things like that, where it's just ugly most of the time from what I can tell. I've got a couple samples from them. I've got a short, a cargo short, and a jersey and a kind of a rain shelter jacket. All right, so let's see what we got. This is the Cinder cargo short. Notice what's missing. There's no straps because it is not a bib short. Now it has a very nice chamois in it and whatnot. That so far has treated me fairly well. Has cargo pockets as well. They're kind of meshy, but it has those. They're a little shallower than the Pearl iZUMis, but handy to have. And I haven't worn this a lot because I love wearing a bib short. A bib short, I don't even own any shorts that aren't bib shorts in Lycra because it's what keeps everything pulled up nice and snug and tight. So when I got these, I asked, well, do you have any bib shorts? And they've just been out of stock and I haven't been able to get any. So that's okay. But there are some reasons you might not want to wear a bib short. Just say you're out touring, maybe you're out bikepacking. Maybe you just like to be able to answer the call of nature without completely undressing, right? There is something to that. The thing is with a non-bib shorts, it tends to sometimes creep down your butt. So you end up, maybe the plumber's crack is not what you're afraid of, but you get a saggy chamois and you can even just get caught on the saddle. It's not all that great. These actually have been very good. They didn't creep down on me much at all. They stayed up pretty well. They've been just a really solid short. Actually, it's a fairly heavy feeling short too, substantial. So you know what? I'm not in for non-bib shorts, but if I'm going to wear a non-bib short, I just assume be in these from RAB, Cinder shorts. Here is the Cinder Crimp Tee in a Tuscan red. It's also a size large and is a little bit snugger fitting than the Pearl iZUMi. Has a little bit softer feel to it. It's not a merino blend. Very nice fabric against your skin. I've worn it on hot days. It seems like it breathes quite well. And yeah, I really got no complaints about it at all. It's quite a nice shirt to wear. It does have a small little zip pocket on it. And the rides I've used it on, it's treated me really well. And it does have that nice casual vibe to it that a lot of people are looking for. Onto every ride, sometimes a little rain must fall. Sometimes even in the summer, depending where you live, you might be finding yourself into changeable weather. So you're in Colorado, that afternoon thunderstorm rolls in, maybe you can get hailed on, and yet when you're all done, it's back to being 80 degrees or something like that. You can see me wearing the Cinder Phantom Jacket. It is featherweight. It is about a 9 out of a 10 on the waterproofing type scales, windproof. You can see it has a pretty good a length to it. It's cut, this is a large, it's cut big enough to layer over things. If I wanted to be snugger, I probably could get into a medium. I'm not sure about sleeve length. The hood is long enough to go over a hat very well, and I approved it. I don't have video of it right now, but it will go over a helmet. It's the type of thing that you carry with you. Because look at this. It's down into the palm of my hand. Very, very nice piece of gear. It's a type of almost like one of those core items that you don't use every day, you don't take on every ride, but if you're just out there and you're thinking, looking in the sky going, something like the Cinder Phantom Jacket, that could save you a lot of misery. You know, we're out in the sun a lot, aren't we? We want to try and minimize that sun damage as much as we can. Of course, sunscreen, that's something, but you know, on long days and long dusty days, sunscreen can become a real chore just to maintain and the way it attracts dirt and stuff. And some people don't like to wear a lot of sunscreen. Well, one answer is to cover up with clothing, of course, but sometimes that can be hot and maybe even dangerous. But maybe something like this is the answer. This is the men's UV hooded trail shirt in a fog color from ORNOT. Now, you know ORNOT, I did a review on that jacket I got from them that I absolutely loved living in over this fall through winter. But this is something a little bit different. This is a long sleeved, you can see it's very long. Excellent coverage, tight up around the neck. It has a hood that easily fits over a hat and will also do a pretty good job of covering your helmet. Why would you wear this? Well, it's a lifestyle thing. In one end, you could wear this for all kinds of things. I took it to the beach to walk the dog. It was just warm enough to keep me warm on a little foggy day with the hood off and on my hat. Very nice. I wore it to coffee. It looks nice for that. Super comfortable against your skin, and it's UV rated. So at 30, it's going to do a pretty good job of keeping sun off your skin with or without sunscreen under it. Now, you'll notice if you're looking at a lot of bike packing videos, you will see people wearing these more and more because it's just a barrier that you can live in on long days. Something like this is surprisingly cool to wear. Yes, you're going to sweat in it, but that sweat's going to cool. It's kind of going to work through the garment and keep you cool, kind of like a little swamp cooler. It's not something you'd wear for racing, obviously, or something like that, but for general, just being outdoors a long time, something like this ORNOT piece, this UV hooded long sleeve shirt, is just really, really nice to have and well worth looking at. And I have a closet of like 3 or 4 of these from different brands and different colors I've just collected through the years. They're just darn useful because my skin has seen more than enough sun. That was a long video, I apologize, but I had a lot of clothing to get through. Watch out for the heat. It'll bite you, especially us older folks, as we have to begin to taper a little bit when it gets hot. You had to be careful because it affects us a little more than it used to when we was youngins. All right, you guys have a great week and or weekend. And as always, you go ride your bikes. Oh. Wow.